Often in my videos, I reference something called the World Economic Forum. Now, I'm pretty much expecting all of UK Column's audience to know who the World Economic Forum is, but it occurred to me that as I'm trying to speak to younger generations, I should probably explain who the World Economic Forum is, and more importantly, why are they a threat to democracy, why are they concerning, and what nefarious agendas may they have behind the scenes. So if you are a UK Column supporter, please send this video to your child or your grandchild or your niece, your nephew, etc. because it's so important that young people are alert to what's actually going on in the world. When I was at school, we were forced to watch Newsround and we digested all of our news and information from the BBC. And I think at this point, I'd say that most people don't believe that the BBC is a good source of information. So, who is the World Economic Forum? The World Economic Forum was founded by a man called Klaus Schwab in 1971. It's been around for a long time now and has been working behind the scenes to essentially bring together the most notable, wealthy and influential individuals that we currently have in media, politics and business. The premise is that the world is heading in a dangerous direction, specifically around climate, or more recently, we've seen, of course, a COVID pandemic. Now, the World Economic Forum acts as a centre point where all of these individuals come together once a year to talk about global affairs. Now, why is this concerning? Well, on the face of it, the World Economic Forum seems like quite a virtuous organisation. But the truth is, the kind of people that are selected to be at the World Economic Forum have a very concerning, nefarious past and some very worrying agendas for England and for the West in general. For example, Bill Gates.
First, we've got population. Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Christine Lagarde.
Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market. You take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
Klaus Schwab.
The future will not necessarily anymore a world where people own things, but a world where people share things.
And even the current King of England, Prince Charles. So it makes you think, all of these people coming together for the benefit of us? I don't think so. These people have very, very suspicious pasts. The reason this is a red flag is because voices that want to challenge these individuals on their outlook regarding whether we should have locked down, regarding whether we should have vaccinated the entire population, regarding whether we think that climate change is caused by man, regarding whether we think we should introduce electric vehicles even though they have the same, if not worse, carbon footprint as a petrol car. These topics are not debated at the World Economic Forum reasonably, rationally. Instead, those who want to challenge these ideas are not welcome at the World Economic Forum. And that should raise significant alarm bells because we are supposed to be based on democracy. Then you move in the direction of this thing called a world government. The idea that democracy is distanced from each individual country and centralised into one area for the greater good. Democracy only functions when the people are at the heart of decision making and when the people have influence over what happens in their country. If you ask me, lockdown was never voted on, vaccine mandates was never voted on, the approach to climate change was never voted on. These are all topics that are going to impact British people on another scale, and yet they've not been debated. In fact, worse than that, the policies that they are implementing in our country have been decided at the World Economic Forum, an organisation that we the people didn't even vote for or even choose to contribute to. I could make a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour video breaking down the World Economic Forum, its problems, the history of each individual that primarily contributes, those who are allowed to contribute, those who aren't allowed to contribute. I could tear the World Economic Forum to shreds. But for the sake of keeping this short and concise, I beg the question, do you think there should be democracy in your country? If the answer is yes, which I'm assuming it is, then I would say that having different policies decided in an organisation that we the people didn't vote for isn't very democratic, and that should raise alarm bells. We don't want a world government. We don't want banking which is taken out of our country. We don't want policies, agendas being decided without the people having any form of democratic influence. That is a terribly dangerous and very worrying path to go down, and yet we've been seeing it over the past 4 or 5 years. Young people really need to be alert to organisations like the World Economic Forum and understand that one day you are going to be defending your country, not necessarily in a war, but against policy which is being decided without even being properly questioned by the people from the country of which the policy is being implemented. It's utter insanity, and we have a responsibility as a generation, as a young generation, to make sure we are scratching beneath the mainstream narratives and pushing back against the rising tide of globalism and mass authoritarianism. If we don't, the freedoms that we take for granted are going to very quickly be stripped away, and people with very nefarious and bad agendas are going to take advantage of the fact that we chose to do nothing. There are multiple ways of which you can stay informed. You can support UK Column, or alternatively you can get involved in your local community. If you actually want to do something, you can download leaflets which are accessible across the internet regarding these topics, or you can simply just research and debate with your friends and constantly question things. There are so many ways of which you can have a significant impact. As minor as you think you are not. You have a voice. It takes the 99% to seriously rise up and fight back against the 1% that wish to govern our future in an undemocratic and dystopian manner. Support alternative journalism, do your bit, and always question the mainstream narrative. You have power. They don't want you to believe you have the power, but you most certainly can forge a better future on a grassroots level for this country. My name is Montgomery Toms. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you very soon.